Yeah, and of course, the jug ban, it feels strong, it feels stable. It's something that Lava and Kataros specifically just absolutely enjoy. I like this a lot, though. Centaur coming back in the series, just trying to be a little bit more stable, being the safe choice for you. And I 100% agree. It is the safe choice for them. It is going to give them not only that strong Rubik partner, where he does have that individual and kind of independent damage, but now you have a lot less to worry about, to be honest, when it comes to getting on top of these heroes. And when we talk about silencer, we always talk about the ability to punish that silencer in lane, because even though they might change it around, this might end up being Moose hero, you still find those easy punishes sometimes, and it is very easy for you to just kind of kill that silencer in lane.
Yeah, there's a lot that could be done there to just sort of hit him up, and as you said, there's the potential for Lava to try and shift the Silencer's position to avoid that, but then that means you need another position 5 hero for yourself here, which, I mean, there's still plenty of heroes in the pool to serve that purpose. The Io and the Abo were really the only ones being banned away, and we did see a little bit of Disruptor earlier in this series, as well as the previous one. They could go for a play like that, really double down on some of that team fight strength too if they wanted, but Lava, they are really running down the clock here for this next pick, down to 20 seconds, so they're not 100% sure what it is that they're looking for at this moment, but okay, well, that explains why they were thinking it over quite a bit. They get the Viper with the third pick, then into the Ursa selection as well, so they just throw it down in that second phase.
Oh, and they bring it back to the Leo style Viper. We'll see where it kind of end up going. They've got kind of funky lanes on Lava right now, but I mean, when you've got a player as good as Leo style is, and you just immediately put him on Viper, it feels like he's not just gonna win his matchup, but he's just gonna absolutely dominate it. I mean, it's the hero that we only saw him play it once in group stage, and then after that game, every single team decided it's too much. We can't deal with it. We need to ban it out. And I think that's just an incredibly scary combo. And of course, you do pick it into the Rubik. Interestingly enough, we'll have to see if there's maybe a swap up there in his skill build. If we see him just completely ignore that Nether Toxin, of course, it is a very efficient spell. In the Terror Blade,
Okay.
okay. The thoughts, they're very differing thoughts in the draft here. Everybody is going in a little bit of a different direction. They don't want to kind of give them that easy free win, as well as Angel arguably getting his best hero. But not just that, if he's able to farm for 15, 20 minutes, then this game looks really difficult. It's one of the best carries to play up versus that Viper, where suddenly you don't want to show up to fights. You don't have enough damage and just kind of end up losing.
Uh, Sorry, I am absolutely 100% distracted by your cat. But,
Just
uh,
loves me too much. Just loves me too much. But
what can you do? Cat does what cat pleases. In the meantime, though, we do move into that final phase of the bans. Both teams looking towards that middle lane. And Lava taking away the Invoker would have been a nice sort of buff up for that TB play, whereas Thunder Predator, well, they do remove the Leshrac, so it's a little bit of a weird play at this point. I'm not entirely sure what they think the maneuver is right now, because we both looked at that Viper as just a straight up sort of mid pick for Leo style, but Thunder Predator don't
well,
seem quite as convinced.
it could be swapped around to, of course, end up in the hands of MJZ, and then you just make it a 5 Viper. Moose goes to the Silencer 4 position, and then you're just trying to be obnoxious versus the Centaur and the Rubik. But that's where Lava kind of been keeping us guessing a little bit here, and
Oh.
I've got no clue. I mean,
Ford
they could take this
Pango?
in so many different directions right now, and there really isn't a bad option for them at this point. Of course, Thunder Predator with the more conventional and stable lineup, they're just kind of doing what they do. You know, at the same time, Lava have that flexibility where they're going to get whatever lanes they want, but with the Pango pickup, it makes me feel like this has been less and less of a Frank Magnus as time has gone on. We just have so many offlaners picked up right now where it feels like he can't play everything, but Wheel Style probably should slot in on the Viper. We might just see them kind of have this jack of all trades draft where we have to see what Dark Mago ends up wanting to play versus all of these heroes. And oh,
Okay.
I like this a lot. This is a cool pick. Let's see what they
So,
slot in though.
yeah, who is going where?
Okay, interesting.
Hmm. Right. So it's a position, what, 5 Viper, Mag at the 3, Ursa carry, Pangolier mid in Leo Styles' hands. So, well, that's a little bit strange. And honestly, for Lava, a little bit of irony here to pull out the position 5 Viper against Thunder Predator. That's been kind of one of Panda's calling cards throughout his tenure with this squad. So, yeah, maybe that adds a little bit more to it if they could take Thunder Predator down with one of their own sort of strats here. But this is certainly an interesting matchup, the Pangolier mid against the Tiny, but Lava, you take a look at their lineup, they've just got a lot to work with here in terms of forcing you into a fight, just running straight at you, and that may be the play that they need to make, because if they let the TB farm, they could be in quite a bit of trouble in the later stages.
Yeah, at the same time, of course, Dark Mago Tiny is something to behold. He is getting counterpicked a little bit. Pango is very obnoxious to deal with in the lane, but outside of that, he's got a pretty nice time just rotating around. It feels like he really is able to just kind of do whatever he wants, and I think that's where Thunder Predator, they really need to be careful, and they should really set him off to a good start with rotations for both of their supports. If he ever starts to fall behind, Lava, they've got the more chaotic lineup. They've got the easier ganks to kind of happen in the side lanes where Thunder Predator are definitely more traditional, but I'm a little bit worried about them being too traditional. I feel like they might get caught in this kind of gap where suddenly they can't show up to fights, they can't bring enough heroes, where Lava are just going to bring absolutely everyone. It's the numbers game that Lava continuously play versus Thunder Predator, which is crazy to see because Thunder Predator play the numbers game versus every single other team. So we'll have to see how they're actually going to deal with this aggression because Lava, like I said, they're going to bring everyone to these parties.
Yeah, they're going to be pushing in onto you with everything that they've got pretty early on, and we'll have to see if Thunder Predator are going to be able to hold the line long enough for the Terrorblade to become that difference maker later on in the game. So, that being said, we are getting into that final match, or we're technically getting into it. We do have a bit of a pause here early on as Lava needs some extra time. Somebody was... Okay. Somebody was maybe in the bathroom there on the back end of that draft. So we will wait just a little while longer, but it should be noted at this point, Lava have gone for that full smoke play. We've seen that quite a bit from these South American teams, and in this series in particular, they smoke out, try to push their way to the river. Very rarely are they looking for the fight, though. It's just that extra move speed to try and get the vision down to set up for that middle lane.
And of course, you get the vision on the runes. You get to see the wards. Maybe block up that small camp because, of course, that's where the tiny is going to be playing. Looking for that 10-minute timing on the blank dagger. And honestly, at the very least, Dark Mago has a very easy time playing on both the Viper and the Silencer. It's one of the reasons why I think they veer the draft a little bit on Lava's side away from that Viper mid, where just it's unfortunate to play Viper versus Tiny. You just get tossed into three heroes and suddenly you're dead, and there's really no recourse for you because the hero is just so immobile. It's more or less a turret at this stage of Dota. Not too much cool Viper stuff in the pipeline, but at the same time, this Pango is the exact opposite. He's just going to love playing in the middle of all five of your heroes, just causing chaos, just making space. And that's where the game is going to get very interesting once the question of how Lava actually take these buildings is asked, because team fight's great, Roche is great, can't kill any of these towers. These towers are going to be a really big struggle for them, not to mention they're bloodlusted towers, they're towers without creep waves because the Fade Bolt is coming in from Matthew, and towers with Oscar sitting in front of them. That aspect of Lava's draft is honestly their biggest weakness.
Yeah, it just feels like a scenario where, much like some of the other instances we saw earlier today, one team just has to win fight after fight after fight to keep your opponents on the back foot long enough to slowly take down those towers. So if Lava can pull off this strategy in the way that they sort of want to, if they can actually push and get that up-tempo style, then maybe that works out. Thunder Predator on the defensive, you still need time for your TB, so Lava's lack of speed or particular skill for taking the towers isn't going to matter too much there. But that's assuming that they get the pace of play that they want.
Yeah, and okay. Everything will kind of dissipate here, but it doesn't look like anything is going to be scouted out, and looks like they did block up that small camp already. Some good moves by Lava in the top lane.
Not going to see anything quite similar mid, so just going to leave that alone for now. But yeah, that top lane going up against Angel, that lane control is going to be so important as Frank running into Angel here. Hasn't skilled up anything just yet. Wants to see if he can make it out on foot without having to use the skewer, but yeah, the slow comes in and Frank does have to get himself out. So, yeah, your mag's got skewer at level 1. It's not great, but I don't think it's going to hurt them too significantly. But now, is there any sort of play for the rune here? You see MJZ kind of eyeing it up, getting the poison attacks in onto Oscar, but it's a Centaur. He really does not care too much about that early damage. He's able to absorb it, so 3 of the 4 bounties go his way. And now MJZ, that's a little bit too far forward. He's going to get hit up by that hoof stomp. Matthew has a telekinesis, so they'll pull him back in, and that's going to be first blood delivered to them as well. That Viper just kind of assumed he was in a 1v1 in the Centaur. That was an incorrect assumption, and he does pay for it.
Yeah, and it's assumptions like that that you really can't afford to make, because as soon as you start to fall behind on this Viper, you go from what could be that position 5 gyrocopter that we know all too well, where you get ahead in levels, you're running around the map, you're level 7, 9 minutes into the game, and you feel great, or you are relegated to I am a stacker, I am not get XP, I am not play the game. And it's really whether or not this Viper is actually successful, and it's
They're
happening
going to go
again.
again.
A lot of damage.
Telekinesis into hoof stomp. They need that double edge, though. That's the problem. If they were level 2, either the double edge or the fade bolt, for that matter, would have gotten them the kill, but it's worth an attempt. You burn through some more regen. MJZ has to salve himself. Never a great scenario for your position 5 hero, but he's still alive. He can remain in the lane, but it feels like the Viper's just going to have a tough time, especially if Matthew can stop this pull. Yep, he's able to just take that creep aggro away, so there's no equilibrium control here out from MJZ, and Kataro's not going to be too happy with that, with his lane pushing directly into that Centaur, but well, they tried for Matthew, but again, that telekinesis comes into play. I don't think I've ever seen this many telekinesis plays this early on. He's gotten enough 3 times in the first sort of couple of minutes of the game, but he was definitely going to work here. He's still not level 2, though. That is a bit of a bummer for the Rubik, but it did allow Oscar to hit that point for himself. So if your Rubik can afford to maybe step out of lane for a little bit, get some XP over onto the Centaur, the sooner he can get that Stampede, the more really potential utility that Thunder Predator have to work with.
And we'll have to see whether or not they do start pulling away in this bottom lane, because as in every lane we see the Centaur picked up, and as soon as you hit level 2 or 3, that double-edge spam is just brutal for anyone to deal with. And Ursa, sure, you've got that trade, and the lower your HP your opponents are in lane, the more likely you are to just randomly turn on them and kill them with the overpower, but then you also have those moments where you suddenly don't want to walk up to these lanes, where you're just getting way too heavily pressured. Nice play from MJZ there, getting the creep aggro back on him, not letting that pull go off, but it is a numbers game here. The Viper is going to be attached to this Ursa. He's going to get levels himself, but it just pulls away even further from the Ursa's game.
Gonna go for a bit of aggression there. They do stack that up a little bit, but that was not a turnaround. That was just a back off and avoid the damage play, so are able to get themselves out of it. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, didn't quite catch the end of it, but they are going to be able to take moves down there as Angel gets the kill. Frank, no, he still had the shockwave, but he didn't have the mana for it, so not really sure if that pullback would have been enough onto Angel anyway, but as it stands, Thunder Predator able to get their second kill on the board. 2-0 start for them, and that TB just doing Terrorblade things. Go for the occasional kill, use the meta to just grab the extra last hits, and with Panda here to back him up, there really doesn't seem like there's too much Lava are going to be able to do to get that aggressive. When we see them try, did result in the Silencer's death.
Yeah, and I think in kind of typical Moo's Silencer, you don't really care about your deaths all too much, because you do just get full mana that you're able to spam and spend onto everyone else, but at the same time, the creep wave is just pushing in here. They're doing a good job of getting the lane back from Panaboo, but at the same time, it's just really not going to matter, because the TB is going to get what he wants. The Mag's going to get what he wants, but there isn't any kill threat until maybe that Pango gets involved, and even then,
Oscar,
bottom. Oh,
it's just going to get jumped in on that. A little overconfident in his own survivability there. He lets MJZ pretty much get max stacks on the poison attack, and if you're Kataro, that's just an easy play. You're one Earthshock away from securing that kill, and Lava able to get there first on the board, and now Kataro's got a little bit of extra time to farm in the lane, because there's absolutely no one here. The Centaur is now TPing back in, but the Rubik went mid to refill the bottle.
Yeah. And at the same time, because the Rubik is doing that, you're not seeing that contest for the pull, and they've lost control of this large camp a little bit here. They've just been able to stack it up so heavily, and Oscar, oh, he's gonna eat
And
a lot of damage. Gonna get 5.
Z just hitting him up, and yeah, that's big. You take that much damage. He does have his Ring of Health, so he is going to be able to absorb a nice bit of that damage, but the equilibrium, as you said, it's
Lost
something
a
Thunder
full wave.
Predator, they just lost complete control. It's stacked up, yeah, so they lose the full wave, and it's just going to push all the way back for Kataro. That Ursa just really is getting so much more out of this lane than it looked like he would across the first minute or two, and it was just sort of that one death that Oscar suffers that really just affects the status of this lane, although they are going to try to pull it back here. Pushing onto MJZ, they need to be able to bring him down, but Oscar he just doesn't have the HP. He was standing inside of the Nether Toxin, so when Kataro pushes in, he just takes so much damage. They're going to be able to find the one kill. Can Kataro go for more? He needed a little bit more mana, rather, for the Earth Shock, so Matthew's at least able to walk away, but that's a support kill in exchange for your own offlaner. And elsewhere on the map, that ogre does get taken down as well, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, he
silencer was able to get it.
just got skewered underneath the tower. Just got a little bit too close. Of course, Panda Boot doesn't have the boots yet, so there is going to be that little bit of a struggle, but I'm a little bit concerned because this is all happening while Leo Style is not getting out onto the map. It just feels like earlier on, these heroes have a little bit of an easier time, and, well, it's a battle for the rune, and I was expecting them to rotate a little bit more heavily for Dark Mago, but kind of luck of the draw here. Here we go.
Kim is really drawing this out as Leo Style goes in for the Rolling Thunder. Able to hit up once on a Dark Mago. They need further connections, though. They are starting to get that damage in, and Dark Mago will be taken down. They have to sacrifice the silencer, but they're more than okay with that. Matthew should now get picked off. Leo Style needs one last hit. Frank will take it instead, but they still get the kill. Meanwhile, in that bottom lane, while all that was going down, Kataro's left in a 1v1 against the Centaur, and that is a 1v1 that the Ursa can very handily win.
Yeah, there's just absolutely nothing that he can do. And we're in that same situation as game 2, where unfortunately for Oscar, they got him on his hero, but they don't have enough bans to cover it. And it's a little bit awkward for him to kind of play the game here. And I think that really that's where the biggest benefit of Lava's draft in being as chaotic as it kind of ended up being is just that they got a lot of the lane situations that they're very happy with. At the same time, Frank just has a free lane top versus the TB who doesn't want to play there anymore. So it feels like right now, at the very least, they get to play around these early timings. Not to mention that we're going to have roll in about 10 seconds here. And if Leo keeps that pace where he just always makes a play every 60 seconds, there isn't that same level of activity. We're waiting for items on the Thunder Predator side, and items that are not really coming out as fast as you would have thought. Unless Dark Mago gets some kills here, he is really slowed up here on his Tiny. This is the slowest blink I've seen him get in quite a while.
Yeah, and without that blink, you don't really have too much aggressive potential. You just don't have the mobility to push in there and get that avalanche toss combo down unless someone's setting you up. So on that front, maybe that's where the Stampede could come into play, but Oscar, he's been bullied so much, his levels have really just fallen off. He's not even 5 yet. Should be able to get it from this stacked camp, but no Stampede to really make anything happen as Frank is going to try to push it onto Panda in the top lane. Really does not want to have to use an RP here. He's faking it out, but I think Panda realizes Frank is not going to solo RP me underneath a tier 1 tower that's bloodlusted.
No, but you look over at Frank's item build, though, and he's just immediately getting a blink, and once he has it, I mean, more power to him. He's just going to be able to make those same plays, and plays in response to what you feel like is going to be your Tiny's timing, but it's just a little bit behind. It's a little bit slow, and maybe Dark Mega looks for a play here, but okay, that's just assigned to kind of eke off, but then you look over at Leo Style, who has the Javelin. He is raring to go. He's just waiting for his opportunity, and if Fanbu isn't too careful up here, it's a very easy dive that they're probably going to go for.
Yep, they're looking for it. Frank's just going to skewer his way through the trees. Cutting a path, they get the shockwave down. Leo Style jumps in. Good stun from Panda to try and delay this, but delay is the operative word there. He will still go down. Leo Style finds the pick, and now, well, not really sure there's too much they can do here vis-a-vis pushing the tier 1. It's still bloodlusted, and their creep wave is kind of bad, and to get back to the point we were talking about at the start of the game, nobody can really hit these buildings with any sense of confidence, so Leo Style's not even going to stick around to try. He'll just back off and continue to farm, and at this point, well, he does have the Rolling Thunder, but yeah, the mana is sort of the issue for him, but Got a clarity going. He's got some bottle charges, so he could just sort of gear up again and look to make another rotation.
Yeah, and well, there is the Viper. Does get Avatos, and yeah, looks like he's dead. Good kill from Dark Mego, just playing on the ward, and that will kind of hasten his timing on the Blink Dagger a little bit more here, but that's also where you look at what he's trying to gank. He's trying to gank a Pango, a Magnus, or an Ursa. Those kills aren't going to be easy. He really needs to feed on these supports as much as he can, and it's a good smoke over towards that Ancient stack, but unfortunately, this is going to get awkward here in a few seconds, and Moose isn't careful. I think he might just be dying. He got scouted by the courier as well.
Yeah, there's the TP coming in. Dark Mego wants it, and they are going to be able to set up for it. The Avalanche comes in, the toss is there, and Silencer will be finished off. So Dark Mego...
Okay, blink completed.
Couple of kills to recover. Blink's picked up. He can now afford to be more aggressive. Meanwhile, on the other side, Leo Style... He was able to go up top for that kill onto Panda, but we have not seen him use that Rolling Thunder a second time since they got that fight in that north side jungle to pick off the Tiny in the first place. So at this point, if you're Leo Style, I don't know. You don't want to wait too long here. I know he's getting some pretty substantial farm in this triangle, but you're not going to out-farm the TB on the other side. So, well, still just sort of waiting to see when they make that call. But now, Thunder Predator deciding if our opponents aren't going to come after us, we may very well just look to push onto them. They've got 4 heroes making their way down bot. It's only MJZ here, but this could be a quick kill into the tower push. But yeah, there's the TPs being thrown in. Global Silence will be deployed. Leo Styles into the fight. Frank here as well. They're going to just try and jump forward. The RP from Frank is actually not going to go through. He cancels it out. So they will hold that spell, but they need to actually find a kill here. They need to get onto somebody. It is going to be Oscar that they target up. But now Oscar looking for the TP. Skewer is going to be able to cancel it. Frank finds that kill. They got the deny on the tower thanks to the Viper, so not quite as big of a fight as I think they might have wanted when they all started that engagement, but you find 1 kill onto a core and you don't really give up too much extra gold for that tier 1 being denied.
No, but look over at Frank.
Is he getting picked? Yes, he is. Skewer creates some separation, but yeah, Panda just burns him out. Max level ignite.
Yeah, and they gotta be careful. That was their timing. That was the blink that they had no idea about on the Magnus. I think they kind of staggered their TPs a little bit too much there, and then in an effort to save the Viper, they popped that global just a little bit too early, and then it's super easy for Thunder Predator to just immediately say we don't want the fight, and it's opportunities like that where, sure, you deny the tower, that's great, you get the top tower in tow, but until you make plays over towards that mid lane, we're really not going to see all too much of that same success. It's where we're going to be looking at timings like Kitaro making his way over towards the pit. And with Kitaro's skill build, him going for 2 points in Earthshock, which is not incredibly uncommon, but just not the same as a lot of other Ursas in this tournament so far, is a little bit more difficult for him to solo roast this early into the game. So we might see him play for a possibly later timing in that regard.
He does now have the Empower bonus from that mag, though, so yeah, he could just focus on farming. Push off Roshan to a later date, and, well, on the Thunder Predator side, they're not exactly looking for an imminent Roche attempt on their own end, so you really don't have to sacrifice too much there. It's not like the Ursa isn't farming, you're just not getting that objective in particular, and what is Katara working on here? After the Diffusal, the Blink Dagger for him next, so Blink Diffusal may be the point at which he starts getting a little bit more involved in some of these fights. They'll still obviously have the Leo-style Rolling Thunder. They'll also, presumably by that point, have a little bit more damage on him as well with that Maelstrom picked up.
Yeah, and honestly,
Leo makes the jump. Leo gets picked off. They do get the Global Silence down, and that will allow them to get a kill onto Matthew, but that is a 1-for-1. You only lose the support, and you drew out the Global Silence. Not fantastic for Lava there. If it comes a little bit earlier, maybe they could break up that Avatos combo, but not quite fast enough with the reaction times on the Silencer.
Yeah, and honestly, really feels like we are waiting for Frank's RP, of course. He keeps spamming it. Keeps on spamming it, but look over at the pit, and they're going to scout Kitaro. He's one more overpower away. He's trying to time it nicely, but Pandaboo.
Jump in. They've taken down the Silencer. But yeah, that extra time allows Kitaro to pick it up. And now Panda, he has no mana. He really is not going to be able to get out of here. Swashbuckle in from Leo's style helps out. And they actually are going to go for more. They get the Skewer down onto Matthew. Stampede is going to be used defensively, though. And now the Rubik, he's got his hands on a Skewer of his own. Used it to sort of get away, but he is going to hold on to it. And It's going to be back up soon, so maybe he could look for a play there, but in the meantime, Lava are just going to look to push their way onto the tier 1 tower. Kataro has 2 lives to work with, so he is just right out in front, and Thunder Predator don't really want to deal with him at the moment.
No, and they really can't afford to deal with them. They have to keep playing this kind of patient style because unfortunately for them, the bear is just way too strong. Not to mention, Kataro has that Blink Dagger already coming out on that courier, so he's about to make these supports a living hell on the Thunder Predator side. And they don't have Stampede for 50 seconds. That is going to be an incredibly important timing for Lava to push in and really punish a lot of the positioning coming in from Thunder Predator. At the very least, they do have the Centaur. Ooh, Skewer. That would have been a kill onto Dark Mago, but now they do have Blink Dagger on Oscar, so we can see Thunder Predator make a few more plays of their own, knowing that they have some of that extra magic damage that they can just dogpile onto one of these heroes. They'd love to find the Pango again top.
They're going to smoke up for it as well. And their way up there, Leo style. Sensing that something is wrong here, he's going to back off a little bit. He does have a TP. He could just look to leave really right now. Dark Mago is sort of on his trail. Might need the swashbuckle play, actually, to make sure he gets out. He'll just look for the TP, though, and Dark Mago... Wrong direction on the guess. That's a long TP, though. Oh, my god.
And then they smoke, and then they're cutting in. Oh.
Oh, my goodness. Saw his life flash before his eyes there. But yeah, as you said, they are looking for the fight now. Panda getting body blocked up by Frank. He doesn't want to have to use that RP, so without it, well, they don't really have a fight here. The Stampede comes through. Thunder Predator... They back off initially, but now Dark Mago wants in. There's going to be the toss back. They've caught out Frank. The Global Sound Stow will be deployed, so Frank not dead yet, but with Angel coming in with that meta activated, Frank cannot get himself away, doesn't have the HP for it, and now the fight is actually going to continue. Kataro wants in, though, trying to get onto Dark Mago, and Dark Mago, he has no mana. He really can't get himself out of this one. They'll have to sacrifice their own silencer, but they will still find that kill, and now here comes Leo Style rolling his way forward, trying to get in on to really anybody he can, but he is missing all these targets. He finally hits Angel, but by this point, yeah, fight's over. Leo Style has to leave. They try to blink out with Tataro, but Matthew actually caught him. Hit him with the telekinesis, pulls him back in. They lock him down for the kill. And this has gone so unbelievably poorly for Lava. They lose 4 heroes. They lose the Aegis. They got the Dark Mago kill, but that is it.
Yeah, and it should feel like a mistake on Thunder Predator for looking for the fight when they don't have Stampede, where they have to consider what this Ursa is actually able to put out onto them. But they really just ignored Angel, and unfortunately for them, Angel is a little bit unignorable at this stage of the game. If you're not running at him with this Aegis, then what are you exactly doing? I feel like the way that they ended up spending his first life on that Ursa was just not nice enough for Lava. At the same time, you lost so many heroes so early on. Both the Viper and the Magnus were just not really able to have a big impact in that fight. And sure, you do kill the Tiny, you do kill the Centaur, but that's it. Angel is completely okay with that trade. Angel gets all those kills as well, and he's looking at his BKB. This is the timing where suddenly give one more fight like that to the Terrorblade, and he's just going to eclipse you. He's already eclipsing everyone else in net worth so far.
Meanwhile, see a bit of a fight for that high ground vision, so both sides trying to set up for that as Oscar, okay. He took a lot of damage there from Kataro, but he's able to pop the Stampede into the Blink. That gets him into the tree line, and the Ursa didn't really have his Blink to chase after it. So Centaur is able to get away, but now that's the Stampede down for a little while. So if you're Lava, you could go looking for another target here because that bailout play will not exist.
No, definitely not, but at the same time, look at the pressure. Kataro doesn't even feel comfortable enough to really stick around here for all too long. He has the ward. He'd much rather see someone showing on the map before he's actually able to hit that tower because, yeah, he is afraid, especially because he had already used the Enrage before on that Centaur War Stomp, so doesn't have it for just a little bit here. And he doesn't want to let his presence necessarily be known, but there's also not much he can do. He has to show him the creep wave here, and I think it's just the no-go zone for Thunder Predator, and it's a no-go zone that they're happy with giving over. They want to find these kills in the mid lane, but at the same time, Leo is also showing quite a lot here, so they're just kind of taking over the rest of the space, and TV is fine with that. He's only one item away from that BKB, and then suddenly you don't have very good options when it comes to actually killing him. You need to lead with an RP and then hope you have enough damage to burst him in that.
Now, this is a bit of a problem for the Lava side. We talked about them maybe wanting to push the tempo a little bit in this matchup so that the TB didn't have that time to just sort of farm freely, and that up-tempo style has really ground to a halt. As you said, the Ursa's sort of scared to push in. Maybe if he gets this BKB, then things will change, but That BKB is still going to be a couple minutes away, all the while Thunder Predator just keep building themselves up. So by the time you do have it, well, maybe your opponents aren't going to be all that afraid of you, even with the Magic community up on the bear.
And I don't know, Thunder Predator, they're just doing a good job of not giving them Lava the fight that they actually want. They've been placing a lot of lane wards, they've been getting a lot of vision to try and get these pickoffs whenever Thunder Predator go for the split push plays, but
So
they're
the
just not
tournament is all
presenting
your
any
call?
opportunities to their opponents. And of course, Lava, they maintain this position because, of course, they want to forever keep control over the pit. They are the team with Ursa. They want to look for that early respawn, but at the same time, I just have this pain in the back of my neck where Angel's going to have a few items coming up here, and then suddenly he shows up to a team fight where your Ursa isn't able to do much, and oh, that's a dead Viper.
Oh man, that is, yeah, 4 heroes onto MJZ. They take him down. I think, yeah, they could take that sentry ward out there as well, but they choose not to. Instead, they'll get the kill. They'll retake the outpost, and now they're going to push their way in with the smoke. They've got everything up. They've got the Stampede. They've got the meta for Angel, so if he wants to get involved, they can bring the full force of that Terrorblade right now. It's a Terrorblade with his BKB up and running. Dark Mago has an Arcane Rune, so that combo is going to be even more deadly as he can throw it out multiple times, and they're directly in onto the Silencer. Moose gets taken down, and now look at Oscar blinking forward. Stun in onto Leo style. Angel's going to pop that Metamorphosis, but it looks like Lava successfully sort of retreat for the time being, but that means Thunder Predator can now go in onto the Tier 1 tower mid.
And there's nothing they can do about it. They have to give it away here. The only way they start a fight is if it's a fantastic RP from Frank or it's Leo Sao causing chaos with that roll. But unfortunately for him, with the TV meta, if you show for a little bit too long, you just get stunned. But oh,
Oscar jumps in. They're looking for Frank. They're going to be able to blow him up first. Kataro, though, did get the BKB off, so he's going to try and fight his way through this. Global Silence will now be deployed, but Angel, just look at him go. He's got the BKB. He doesn't really care. The meta comes out, and they're just going to surge their way forward, but there's really nothing to surge onto. Leo Style was able to get himself out. That initial lockdown wears off onto him, and, well, if you're Lava, it does suck that you lose Frank and Moose there, but it really felt like it could have been worse for them. They're able to sort of mitigate the damage, and in the aftermath of the fight, Thunder Predator really don't have much to push onto anymore.
yeah, and more importantly, do they have the luck of the draw? Do they get this Roche in 5 seconds, or does it end up being a timer that favors Thunder Predator? Let's see it, and okay, not the worst timer for them, in all honesty, but still, it's going to respawn before meta timing, and it might be so that Thunder Predator may look away from that fight just because they don't want to throw on that side of the map, even though they have been struggling for a lot of these tower pushes. Oh yeah, again.
Oh god, Panda, what are you doing there? That's a little bit awkward. Dark Mago and Matthew I can understand. They've got Blink Daggers to immediately back out if that play doesn't work. Panda, though, really just gets caught in an awkward place. They'll take him down, but honestly, Panda's not going to hurt too much. He's got a buyback if there is any sort of immediate Roche play, but well, they don't have this outpost anymore. Tier 2 mid is still standing, I suppose, but that does cut off that sort of immediate reinforcement route. But if Lava want this, they've actually got to scout it out. They don't have any vision in here right now. Frank could certainly check it, and Kataro's still in a position where he can immediately sort of make the rotation over, and yeah, they do now have the knowledge, and they should be able to push in for it.
And even though it's a small kill, it is still a kill that ends up giving up this entire side of the map. And you're Ursa, you're going to take this. This is the nice one to get as well, just because you don't have to buy that shard for yourself. Just get it in the works here. Pops it, gets the Aegis. Basher is going to be absolutely massive for him. That's going to allow him to actually stay on these targets, especially ones that haven't finished off their BKBs yet, like Dark Mago and, unfortunately, Oscar. But that's also where the more force steps we get, we're going to get in the very similar game where if we can kite out this Ursa, Ursa is a much easier hero to kite than that Slark. And everyone's keeping bottom. Oh, Dark Mago.
They want the kill. They're going after the Tiny. They got the silence down. The Stampede, though, no, not going to be enough. He made a break for it. Could not get away. But Tier 2 tower still ends up being lost there. So if you're Thunder Predator, it is unfortunate to lose Dark Mago, but you are trading him out for maybe a little bit more control over the map. But now Lava want to push forward. They know that they have that numbers advantage. They smoke on 3. They got a DD up on the Ursa. So, I mean, this is really the best position the Ursa is going to be in for quite some time. You've got Aegis, you've got BKB, you have Empower, you have TD. You just need a target, and there's the target. Frank's going to be able to hit up Matthew. That's not the most valuable kill as Matthew... Hold up. Oh. Okay, I thought that was just kind of a middle finger to Frank play there with the skewer, but with his own
Yeah,
force
dead to the
staff...
curse.
Oh. Well,
I almost feel bad.
I mean, it's still a very impressive play. It just doesn't result in him being alive at the end of it. As Kataro, he's looking for the fight. Frank able to get off that shockwave into the skewer, into the global silence, so there's no way out for the Centaur. He tries to force staff, but well, that's not going to be enough for him to get out of there. So that's 2 now dead on that Thunder Predator side, and Lava, well, we could just collapse onto the tier 2. Yeah, that looks like the play to be made for them, and well, they're in a good spot here. They can clear out the creep wave, but as we sort of keep coming back to, their ability to hit these towers is a little bit limited, but Kataro is hitting pretty damn hard, so they will slowly but surely try to get through it, but the Glyph is actually going to push them back, and they don't want to stick around too long. They know that Thunder Predator are starting to get heroes back in, and that's exactly why you didn't want to go back in. Kataro going to get jumped in on. They take the tower, but now they've got to protect the Ursa, but he does have the Aegis to work with. He's holding his BKB for a second life. Meanwhile, Dark Mago got pulled back by the skewer. They'll actually take him down, which means Angel is kind of fighting alone here, but there's going to be a buyback. Dark Mago wants back into the fight, but look at Leo Style just sort of acting as that distraction on the backline. He'll take Matthew out. And that creates enough separation for Lava to pull back. They lose the Aegis. They do lose the Viper as well, but you force out a very expensive buyback from that Tiny for this moment in the game.
Yeah, and it's very fortunate that Frank just walks out there. I think he survived on maybe a sliver of HP, just 1 or 200, but at the same time, without kills like that, this meta feels that much worse. Of course, Angel is looking at the item, but yeah, Dark Mago, okay, they gotta stampede him.
Dark Mago, I don't think you really want to turn around there. Yeah, he thought about it for a second, but there's no one to toss back the Ursa to, and you don't have enough damage for the kill, so he's able to get away. Stampede used defensively, but it is Stampede down. Oscar really doesn't have as much to work with here in terms of getting his teammates out of these fights, so Lava could still look to push their way forward once again, and now it feels like we're finally starting to see that increase in pace that was sort of missing from Lava maybe 10 minutes or so ago.
Yeah, and really, the change-up is just getting that Roche, because they know the other confidence you have when you have that Aegis is that you're not going to throw and give it to your opponents. You just know that that's never going to be an avenue for them to actually kind of make that comeback more of a reality, but at the same time, we are getting some big Angel items coming forward here. The game-ending one, of course, is going to be the Scotty. Once he has that, really scared of nothing, absolutely nothing. He's just going to be able to do whatever he wants, and it puts you on that pretty much hard timer on the BKB from the Ursa. It's still a relatively long BKB. It is an 8-second. Katara hasn't had to use it too many times here, but if you don't have that when you're stuck in the middle of this fight, then unfortunately that Scotty just ruins you. And more force staffs, so cutting this Ursa is still very reasonable for the Thunder Predator side. And that's also where I think Leo Style, really smart, going back for that Blink Dagger, just having that ability to get in and on these fights, and actually catch Angel off guard. And Dark Mago, oh,
They need the vision,
they
though. They
don't
don't
know.
have it.
Perfect.
Very nicely done by the Tiny to get himself away. That buys a lot of time. That's 3 heroes who come down to the bottom lane, and they're not really going to be able to make anything happen there. So Dark Mago gets away. Angel continues to farm. I believe, yeah, did he just finish off the Scotty? So does have that major item to work with now. Exactly does he queue up afterwards? Could look for just the straight Satanic if he's looking to keep himself up in these fights. Could look for more damage as well, though. Something along the lines of the Butterfly or the Daedalus for him, but whatever he queues up, he's a long ways away from. He did just spend pretty much all of his money for that Scotty, but now that he has it, Thunder Predator, they want to attack something. They're going to smoke up his 5, push their way forward, and we'll see what they can find.
And really, I think he would want the Daedalus. Daedalus is just an item that makes it almost impossible for the Pango to just simply start the roll. If he ever doesn't hit you with it, then suddenly you're actually dying in the roll by yourself. There is that Ags on the Pango, which of course does mean that shield crash spam is always happening to you. So he does have that to play around just a little bit more. But at the same time, I think, okay, Silver Edge, sure. Plays very nicely versus the... It's the same idea versus the Bloodseeker in Game 2, where you break him, Furious Wipes is suddenly not there, and then what do you do if you're this Ursa? It's not like you do very much physical damage, even though you're powered up by that Empower. you don't itemize for that either. And that's where Kataro, he's looking at a Satanic, which is going to be incredibly hard for specifically the Tiny to deal with. And nice spam coming out. Reflection, very obnoxious for the hero with the Diffusal Blade, but at the same time, don't think Thunder Predator are giving you this tier 2 tower, and both teams, they might collide on that choke point there. Gotta play some wards, though.
Him. They're gonna spot him. He did get the global down, though, but Angel, he doesn't care. Manta popped immediately. That is the silencer down and out, and that global really doesn't do much more than sort of sound the alarm for the rest of Lava, but if they can get out, it might work out for them. Frank is looking for the TP right now. He is going to be able to get himself away. Leo-style TPs as well. Ursa out, and MJZ out as well, so, okay. That is global silence used, but that was looking like a much rougher fight if they weren't able to get everybody away.
Yeah, and of course, at the very least, you scare them out of this side. If they're going to play around the Roche side, you want to play on this side. Whenever they start stepping on your toes, you want to get your opponents away from you, but at the same time, that's meta. That's Angel not participating in any fight for the foreseeable future here. We'll see what kind of item he gets here. I think he's going to stick with the Alvin Tunic, though. That item's just a little bit busted to some degree, but we will see the Silver Edge getting built up, and it is an incredible item versus the Ursa and the Viper. We just need to see, I think, a little bit more here, and I think this Roche, we might not even see them defend it. We'll see how the timer decides to favor which side, but look at Kataro just fighting versus the Illusions. He's definitely getting beat up by the Terrorblade, and there's not really all too much he can do about that, but that's where having just so much... Oh yeah, Dark Mago.
Do they have detection? Okay, yeah, they do. There we go. Wasn't sure if Leo Style was just guessing or if he actually saw, but the sentry is down, so they're able to make that play. Frank has to commit the RP, but that is a huge kill. That is the Tiny dead for 80 seconds, but you see Leo Style, he's actually taking a beating here. He needs to be able to get himself out, but he just can't do it. He had already used both the Rolling Thunder and the roll-up, so no way out. Angel finds the return kill, and it was a nice play from Lava initially, but they're not able to do more, and now the Roche timer, an extra 3 minutes, so they don't even really have that advantage to work with right now. Thunder Predator have plenty of time to try and set up around that pit.
Yeah, and most importantly, that's time for Dark Mega to finish up this BKB. Once he has it, doesn't need to worry about really everything in the game. It feels like he really has been kind of shoved off into the closet. He's not able to play that confident Tiny that we know he loves to play, and Angel, he is getting incredibly farmed. Of course, there is that Ursa almost nipping at his tail here, only 4,000 net worth behind him, but the next item coming in from the Ursa, of course, being the Abyssal Blade, that's kind of endgame stuff here. You look for the Overwhelming Blink, you look for the Spliff Blink, or you look for the Abyssal Blade. Once Kataro has it, he can stick on the same targets he's been able to stick on pretty much the entire game, but it still doesn't really help you with this Terrorblade, and he's starting.
They jump in, they get the break, they're going to try and take the fight. Kataro, he's holding his ground for now, waiting for that break to wear off, but the BKB may not be enough to get him out. They really do need someone here defensively. There's going to be that global silence, but it doesn't do anything against the physical damage. Kataro has to pop the Satanic, but he still can't win this fight. Trying to back away, not going to be able to do so. Kataro will fall. MJZ next up on the chopping block as Angel is just going to shove his damage down Lava's throats, and yeah, they know now. They cannot afford to stand up against that. You need to be able to get onto Angel quickly and take him out really right away. If you let him go like this, it's just not a fight.
Oh my goodness. Angel just has 500 last hits, 33 minutes in the game. He's so farmed, and at the very least, you aren't going to have meta for the immediate Roche spawn here. It's about 40 seconds separated, but this should be at least a lot of your outer towers here. I think Angel should just be able to claim this top one unless they use the glyph, and they might not use the glyph because, of course, then there's high ground pressure. I think, unfortunately, there, of course, it's a nightmare situation because you start with the Ursa being broken. Angel has absolutely no stacks on him when that fight breaks out, but Frank is also just getting harassed and bullied by Dark Mago. The man without a BKB was so obnoxious who wasn't able to actually find any of those RP situations. Of course, when a single hero pops a BKB, your knee-jerk reaction is just RP him, stop him from doing what he's doing to your carry, and unfortunately, another fight like that, and Angel, oh my goodness. Well,
he's just going to go straight in. He wants to silence her out of the fight first. Not going to be able to finish off the kill immediately, but with the BKB, nope. Actually, Moose is able to get himself over that cliff with the Force Staff as Matthew takes the shield crash. So, well, if you're Lava, you didn't really lose too much there. That buys enough time as well for Katara to respawn, so not a bad move on their part. However, the Rolling Thunder is down for a little while, but it's on a pretty short cooldown, 45 seconds before he's got that back up again. So Lava still feel in a position where they can contest Roshan here, but under Predator, they've actually smoked up again. 4-man smoke. They're going to move their way into the river. They've got to know that their opponents have gone into the pit by now, but do they make their move on to Kataro, or do they try to wrap all the way around? It doesn't look like they can get much of a chance to really do anything, as they actually do get ambushed. And Kataro, he's just going to continue to take Roshan. Frank, that RP only hits onto Matthew. The Force Staff's going to get him away, but there's going to be the Global Silence. But Kataro, he's just dropping too low. Satanic, though, is going to be deployed. He's healing his way up here, but he's still only at about a third of that health overall, so they need to be able to pull back with him, but they just can't do it. The Ursa continues to retreat. Dark Mago and Oscar, though, onto him with the Hoof Stomp. And they do find that first kill. The Ursa gets taken down. Frank will fall as well. They're in now onto MJZ. They'll finish off the Viper. And that sure as hell will confirm and really just give them the Roche attempt. There's nothing Lava can do now. They only have one buyback on the Mag, and that's a Mag who doesn't have RP.
Yeah, and of course, you would have loved to get that Terror Wave. You would have loved to get the Ags on Angel, but you didn't have to use your meta during that fight. You just did everything so well and so easily, and at the same time, you would have loved the Terror Wave. You've got Refresher. If you really need to, you've got 90 seconds of this Metamorphosis, and unfortunately for your opponents, that is such a long timing. They just aren't going to have enough gas in the tank here. If Angel really wanted to, he could pop his meta right now, push into the towers, get the glyph traded out. He has a full butterfly, I think, as well. Yeah, just coming on the courier, casually. He is just soared over everyone else in this game, and oh, no toss back, but there's your glyph right there. There's your Lotus Orb. And Angel just does not care at all right now.
Yeah, he's got the Bloodlust on him as well, the Fire Shield in case Lava even try to make a move. So, under Predator, they're just going to be able to clear out the middle lane of Rax. Leo's style is making an attempt here with the Rolling Thunder. As Frank comes in, gets the skewer down. Oscar, Force Staffing himself away. Secondary Force Staff coming in as well, so he is out of the base, and oh, now Dark Mako wants in. There's going to be the Avalanche into the toss. MJZ thrown back, hit up as Matthew's going to use his own Rolling Thunder to try and push his way forward. And look at the havoc that he's wreaking here, just absolutely making sure none of these heroes were able to get away cleanly. Dark Mako does get taken down as Kataro jumps in, but now the Ursa has to win this man fight. Angel is trying to hold the Sunder for as long as he can. He does have the Aegis, so maybe he just lets himself die first. No, he gets the Sunder. Leo style pushing too far in. He's going to be taken down now.
Dieback? Okay.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he's sliding in the Refresher Shard. They're going to go for the end. They're going for GG.
Yep, he's got the shard. Is he going to pop it? Yes, he is. He's got the Metamorphosis up again. Will there be a maneuver here from Lava? They have got to go. The second they realize that Angel has the meta again, they've got to try and make a move. There's going to be the Global, though, into the RP, connecting onto 3. They need to be able to take down that Terrorblade, though, but even if they do so, he's still got a second life. So they're taking him out of the fight temporarily, trying to get now into Dark Mago, but Dark Mago's able to eat the cheese. Kataro, though, still pushing forward, but without the BKB, they're going to be able to lock him down. Not enough in the tank. Maybe he's trying to fight through with the Satanic, but it's just not going to be enough. Kataro slowly but surely being whittled away, and they do bring him down. That's the Ursa out for 90, and Angel's going to turn his attention right back in onto that tier 4 tower. There is a buyback from Oscar, but he had to TP to his tier 2 bot, so I'm not sure he's really going to get here in time, but I'm not sure that's going to matter. Frank, though, okay, Horn Toss comes in. He gets the skewer back onto Dark Mago, but he didn't hit Angel, and that's it. GG called. Thunder Predator will take this in 3. They will advance to the upper bracket final.
And you know, that's the first time there where I got to see somebody BKB the Horn Toss, that be in the slow. Not the same spell, man. Not the same spell. Thank God. But man, oh man, Angel. It's the Angel show. Arguably got his best hero in this draft. I think you could say that arguably for all of Thunder Predator's heroes. Maybe not about Oscar's Centaur and Pandabu's Ogre Magic, but at the same time, everyone felt like they were incredibly comfortable with what they were able to get up here. I think Oscar early on definitely struggled a little bit. We saw that kind of the lapse in bans coming out from Thunder Predator, just not covering that center as neatly as a lot of other teams earlier in the day were able to do. But at the same time, it kind of works. The Stampede just got them out of so many bad situations. It felt like there wasn't able to have that same semblance of disable coming in from Lava. And unfortunately, unless Frank was starting those fights off with the RP, which he really couldn't because Angel was waiting until he was already in before he made his presence known, Lava just don't have enough control. Naturally, coming from the Silencer, the Viper, their heroes just simply don't do the job. And Leo, for a long time there, he was trying to fill that gap. And unfortunately, it just kind of ends up not panning out once Angel gets too much farm. I mean, he had a deathless game. They weren't ever able to push that objective onto the high ground. I don't think we ever saw Lava pressuring the tier 3s on Thunder Predator's side just because this Terrorblade became so big. He sat in front of it, and unless you were executing at an incredibly high level, we never saw them push the objective when Angel was only 2 items in. It was always playing towards that third, that fourth item, and then everything just collapses and falls apart at that Roche pit. Just way too clean from Thunder Predator.
Yeah. And we did say at a certain point in the match, I'll actually take us back over to the graph, we did see Lava finally starting to get that sort of more aggressive, faster pace. The only problem is, you take a look at the timeline here, that's sort of nestled around that 30-minute mark, and by that point, the up-tempo style was meant to get the Terrorblade, or get yourself ahead before the Terrorblade was built up, but by 35 minutes, Angel is ready to go. So it's the right idea to try and get more aggressive. It's just at the wrong time for Lava, and it all just kind of falls apart on them pretty quickly. Meanwhile, yeah, Angel, if Angel on any hero at all, has a 0-death game, you lose that game.
Yeah. I also think Lava, whoever ends up being their lower bracket opponent, man, they've got their work cut out for them. These were some incredibly close games. I think Thunder Predator are really going to be happy with their victory here. I think that this was something they've been waiting for and longing for a very long time. Of course, eating the 2-0 in group stage definitely stings a little bit, but this is going to be something very nice for them going forward. And now, looking forward towards Four Zoomers, I wonder if they're going to have that same level of prep. Of course, I think that's one of the other few 1-1 series with one of those behemoths in the upper bracket. So we'll have to see how that series pans out, because if we keep getting these best of threes, I mean, these are just simply the best games.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-game series always just, it's that little something. Not that there's, not a place for best of twos, but best of twos, that's group stage. That's something different. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the sort of higher stakes action. And I did manage to look over there. You were wondering who the opponent for Lava is. I do believe they dropped down to play D2 Hustlers. So those are the lower bracket matchups. I believe, yeah, for tomorrow it'll be Infamous versus Akori, and Lava versus that D2 Hustlers squad. So honestly, I mean, we move on from sort of strength to strength. These matchups were pretty fantastic. Those ones up tomorrow look pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And do we have an interview is the real question. I'm not,
Uh,
but we'll have to see, because I'm sure all those Thunder Predator squad guys, especially after game two. I mean, game two was a rough one for them. I can only imagine they're pretty tired here, kind of thrown over the line with Angel at the helm.
yeah, it is pretty late for both of these squads as well. So, um, we are going to step away for maybe just a minute or two to confirm if we have an interview or not. Won't be too long, one way or another. So stick around, folks. We'll be back for that announcement of interview or no interview in maybe just a minute or two.